In this segment, we're going to tie a fly called the PT Brassie. Now, this is a great little pattern created by an innovative tier named Britt Phillips. It appears in the book Innovative Flies and Techniques by Alan Gretchen Beatty. Now, this fly is one of my personal favorites for many reasons. It combines all the great qualities of the basic nymphs. It's got the bugginess of hare's ear, the flash of a copper body, the allure of pheasant tail, and it's even got a hot spot of color. It's a breeze to tie, and it's a very productive pattern as well. So let's get tying. Now, the hook that we're using is a wet fly hook. I'm using a size 12, but you can use anywhere from a size 10 to a 16. And the thread we're using is this orange, this fire orange color right here. So we're going to start the thread on the hook with the jam knot. And we're going to make about 5 or 6 wraps to secure the thread down. And at this point, we're going to clip this tag end off. Next, we're going to add a piece of copper wire, which is going to be our abdomen. Now, to apply the wire, I want you to hold the wire underneath the hook shank on an angle, about a 45-degree angle, and you're going to make about 3 or 4 very loose wraps, just enough to gently secure that wire to the hook. And at this point, you're going to pull the wire back along the shank of the hook and slide it back until the end of that wire falls just under your thread wraps. At this point now, you're going to make a few more tighter wraps to secure it in place, and just continue now down the shank of the hook till you get to the bend, binding that wire down right along the shank. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now we're going to apply a tail of pheasant tail fibers. So I've got maybe a half a dozen fibers here that I stripped off of a pheasant tail. And you want the length of your tail to be about half the length of the shank of the hook, more or less. So you size that up, pop that on top, and then do your pinch wrap to secure it down in place. A couple of wraps there, and that's good to go. Now, don't clip this off. What you're going to do now is wrap your thread forward and bind those pheasant tail fibers down along the hook shank. You're going to bring your thread all the way to the eye of the hook. And now, take your pheasant tail fibers and you're going to make a loop. You're going to circle them back upon themselves, and you're going to secure those ends at the eye of the hook like so. Okay, so now we have a little loop of pheasant tail fibers sticking forward here. Okay, and these butt ends, we're going to trim these away. A couple more wraps to secure those butt ends down. And now we're going to wrap the body of the fly. So you take your copper wire, and I want you to pull the pheasant tail fibers up just a little bit. Make the first wrap underneath the fibers, and you see how that kind of cocks that tail up just a little bit. And then bring your next wrap over top of the pheasant tail fibers, and now just continue to wrap in touching turns here to create the body of your fly. Now, I find sometimes in wrapping a copper body, or any wire body, if you angle the wire back just slightly and give just a little bit of tension, it'll help your wraps to kind of fall in nice, even touching turns to eliminate any gaps that may form. So continue wrapping all the way up to the eye of the hook. And it's okay to come to the eye with this fly because you'll see in a bit how it's almost impossible to crowd the eye of the hook in tying this fly, which is another reason why I like it. So there we have, we're up to the eye of the hook. Now you're going to tie off your wire here with about 5 or 6 nice securing wraps. Get that out of the way there. And we'll go with maybe one more here. Okay. And now to get this wire to detach it, all you have to do, let's pull this out of the way here, just kind of wiggle your wire back and forth, make little circles with it, and if you do that As you do that enough, you'll see that that wire should just ping right off, and then you don't have to worry about cutting it and blunting your scissors. So there you go. Now the next step is to dub a thorax of hare's ear dubbing. So I got a little ball of hare's ear, and we're going to apply this to the thread in little wisps. And I'm kind of going off camera here a little bit just to get a good length of dubbing along my thread here. Let me just add a little bit more, and that should be good. And now we're going to dub our thorax. So you just wrap your dubbing back in successive turns. You want to come back maybe about a third of the way back down the hook. And now you're going to take your thread loop, or I'm sorry, your pheasant tail fiber loop here, and you're going to pull that back across the thorax that you just made. That's going to act as your wing case. So you pull that back, secure it down with maybe 2 wraps, and you'll see, as it's hard to tell on camera here, but as you pull that back, it really exposes the eye of that hook. So that's why it's, you know, like I said, it's almost impossible to crowd the eye of the hook here with this fly. And now you're going to throw your whip finish right in that spot where you tied down the wing case. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you see that what you create then is in the middle of this fly you have a little hot spot of orange color, which also acts as an attractant. So you secure your whip finish down, lance off your thread, clip off the excess pheasant tail fiber loop here, and just as a last step here, we'll just take our dubbing needle, pick out some of these hare's ears, this hare's ear dubbing, pull out some of those guard hairs to make legs, and there you have the PT Brassie. Now, as a final step, just take a little bit of head cement, coat the orange thread wraps there nice with the head cement, and that's all there is to that fly. So very simple to tie, very productive, and that's that.